Good morning. I'm here to meet the vinyl community. Got my Nic Schreck book. I'm going to read a chapter, half a chapter, called The Operator. Pardon me, but your knife is in my neck. The past was erased. The erasure was forgotten. The lie became the truth. George Orwell. As related in Chapter 0, my first solid credible lead in understanding what the murders at Cielo Drive were really about from the perspective of the Polanski entourage came by chance. A throwaway remark Ferdinand Maine uttered over dinner at Hollywood's Magic Castle was a giveaway to the hidden truth. He casually commented that the story generally believed about the killing of his friend Sharon Tate was not true, that it was common knowledge among Polanski's inner circle that the killers and the victims in that deadly drama knew each other, led me to the next crucial step in this bloody road. Maine's longtime friend, the producer and bon vivant, Gene Gutowski, Gutowski. He's a major player in this story. In keeping with Gutowski's request to preserve his anonymity until his passage, I failed his identifying by referring to him as X. To honor his wishes, I excluded much from the 2011 edition that I can now reveal. Barely solely on Maine's words, Gutowski, who just so happened to be in California on vacation, jumped my then wife and me to his son's mansion in Santa Monica. Cultured, elegant, charming, humorous, our hospitable host proved to be a gentleman of the old school with impeccable manners. He greeted us on a white piano aglow with sparkling champagne that couldn't have been more cheerfully incongruous to the grim subject matter we discussed. For many hours, he regaled us with reminiscences flowing as easily as the several glasses of wine he enjoyed. In the 60s, Gutowski endured a harrowing journey of many peaks and valleys long before he was thrust into the dark web surrounding his friend Sharon Tate's murder. To date, he is the only other intimate of the Cielo Drive victims, other than Sebring's successor, Jim Markham, to dispute the usual helter-skelter revenge on Melcher random victims narrative. The singularity makes note, knowing something of Gutowski's remarkable background as a survivor to help it shape his character, useful to understand the contextual significance of what he told us. The extreme experiences he withstood long before the ghastly summer of '69 clearly informed his jaded, matter-of-fact attitude about the open secrets he blithely revealed. Getting so tangled in the aftermath of the most infamous murders of the 20th century would be traumatic for most people, but that episode was actually just one of many horrific situations in Gutowski's life. Born in wealth, as Witold Bardach, Bardach, his secular but Christianized Jewish family of Austrian army officers, lawyers, concert pianists, and doctors were trapped between the clash of conflicting ideologies when war commenced in '39. First, he and his wealthy family were persecuted by Poland's Soviet invaders as decadent bourgeois, exploiters of the people. The teenager survived by turning his artistic skills to churning out propaganda portraits of Lenin and Stalin despite his hatred of communist tyranny. Germany was invaded the Ukrainian region of Poland where he lived. Excuse me. Like many others, he and his culturally Germanized family, with its distinguished Austrian military service, welcomes Hitler's armies as liberators from Stalinist brutality. But soon enough, his mother perished in the extermination camp. His father was shot by German troops. His beloved younger brother, whose names prophetically enough happened to be Roman, died when Gutowski's uncle poisoned himself and the 13-year-old boy. Going underground, young Witold aided the Polish resistance movement by stealing radio transmitters from the Luftwaffe station at Warsaw's Okęcie Airport, one of the many wartime exploits that nearly got him killed. Hiding from the Gestapo as he had previously eluded the Soviet NKVD, he took shelter in his Polish girlfriend's mother. She provided him with the papers of a Polish worker killed in the accident. Witold became Eugene Gutowski, later angelicized to Gene. Surviving the Nazi operation with wits and secret smarts, Gutowski even served as an SS officer, translated while simultaneously daring small efforts to sabotage the German war effort. In his risky capacity, he witnessed and, once to avoid detection, even participated in German execution of partisans. He learned to forge passports and to identify papers. He became adept at selling tear items he stole to the black market. He compared himself to Charles Dickens, artful dodger, developing a knack for pickpocketing and theft that made him familiar with the universal ways of the underworld. After Germany's surrender, Gutowski told us his fluency in multiple languages erased his recruitment in the reconnaissance unit of Patton's Third Army. He was trained as an intelligence officer for the U.S. Office of Strategic Services, which soon became the Central Intelligence Agency. A Pentagon intelligence unit headhunted the skilled agent. A resourceful cunning had even by then earned Gutowski the nickname the Operator. He said this was the training came in good stead when he led his own private investigation into the mysteries of the murders committed at his friend Polanski's house at the time when the director was so traumatized to function. It was during this stint with the U.S. Army that the previously mentioned fateful coincidence of his stationing as his later friend Ferdinand Main's abandoned family home occurred. Both men considered this against the odds. Synchronicity might be a sign that they were destined to meet. Considering all the fanciful false speculation, imagining some sinister CIA plot behind the Watson murders, I'm sure my mentioning Gutowski's engagement in high-level spookery will inspire yet more foolish conspiratorial fantasy. What he told us was conspiracy enough, even if it was nothing more than sensational than the usual efforts of the rich and powerful to protect their reputations and avoid arrest. Gutowski left his intelligence career to turn his aesthetic sensibilities and appreciation of stylish women to working at a fashion illustrator's artist and sculptor in New York City. He emerged there from Munich, where he married his first of 6 wives, U.S. State Department official Zela Rhodes, Rhoades. His first job in the entertainment industry, informed by his extensive intelligence experience, was a production supervisor on the 55-56 television series I Spy. Not to be confused with the later Bill Cosby show, this anthology series dramatizes historical espionage episodes. After all the suffering he'd been in war, Gutowski told us with a refreshingly honest lack of hypocrisy that he was conclusively dedicated to the rest of his life to jet-set hedonism, erotic pleasure, and the company of beautiful women. He proudly identified himself as a playboy, a word usually used as a pejorative. Indeed, Gutowski explained how the friendship he and Polanski maintained with felon womanizer Playboy Enterprises executive Victor Lowness, Lownes, in London had a direct impact on the murders and their cover-up, eventually involving Playboy in chief Hugh Hefner himself. While attending a Polish film week in Munich, Gutowski met and found an immediate rapport with the 30-year-old countryman Roman Polanski. Then internationally lauded for his breakthrough film, the Oscar-nominated Knife in the Water, Polanski later hailed Gutowski as one of the most important figures in my existence. The success of his film spurred Polanski to defect from the communist Poland to France, where he was born. Gutowski, then resident in London, recognized his younger man's talent. He urged him to come to England to direct a shocking film designed to push the boundaries of the cautious British censors. In the midst of the British horror boom, Gutowski reasoned that such a film could break Polanski out of the foreign film art house category into the larger, more lucrative English movie-making market. Though Polanski then spoke about no English, he agreed Gutowski paid the then broke Polanski's way and secured an apartment for the promising discovery. With a very swinging 60s goal of creating a deliberately transgressive horror movie in mind, Gutowski produced Polanski's first English-speaking film, Repulsion, 1965, a harrowing character study of the mental breakdown starring Catherine Deneuve. The Gutowski-Polanski collaboration continued with the Beckettian cul-de-sac in 66. The destiny-changing Dance of the Vampires followed in 67. Gutowski told us many intriguing anecdotes about the making of these films, each of which he came to see as troubling foreshadowing of the real-life terror to come. He was still fuming all those years later at the vulgar son of a bitch, Martin Ramshoff. Ramshoff, Sharon Tate's discoverer. Martin Ramshoff discovered Sharon Tate for changing the name of Dance of the Vampires to the Fearless Vampire Killers, or Pardon Me, But Your Teeth Are in My Neck, and then editing the U.S. version with a butcher's delicacy. The first film Gutowski Cater Films produced was Polanski's, were made in conjunction with the Compton Group, operated by the shady Tony Tenser and Michael Klinger. They were a trial run for the two-man Gene and Roman teams, later patronized from mob-connected movie mogul Robert Evans, the head of Paramount. In Hollywood, Compton was originally financed from Klinger's mob-funded strip clubs and membership soft porn cinemas controlled by London gangsters. Creation and crime always intertwined for both diminutive artists in the Polanski-Manson saga. Gutowski remarked that the criminal milieu of these theaters Klinger operated was shown realistically in the Donald Camwell Nicholas Roeg film Performance, starring Mick Jagger, about a gangster on the run who seeks sanctuary in the drug den lair of a burnt-out rock star played by Mick Jagger. That movie's violent portrayal of the psychedelic counterculture collusion with organized crime also presages how the Manson-Watson friendship with Dennis Wilson led directly to the catastrophe on Cielo. Camwell, the producer of the film, as we shall see, was also on friendly terms with several of the players in the Tate LaBianca mystery. How did all this lead from London to a Texan speed freak tweaking and freaking in a Polish film director's living room in the Los Angeles at midnight? Gutowski, echoing what Maine already told him about this sensitive and predatory party people in Tate's London orbit, and what we needed to understand the carelessly indiscriminate mingling that went on, the perpetual pleasure party that was their lives, to understand how the killings came about. This reminded me of what Charlie had recently told Murphy about the slayings resulting from 150 people running through Hollywood, playing music, smoking dope, having sex orgies. Charlie and Gutowski were clearly in agreement. The violence at Cielo wasn't a bolt from the blue. It developed gradually from pre-existing tensions in the promiscuous party scene that both knew so well. Even their stoic and unsentimental views of the crime were the same. Gutowski, with a regretful but fatalistic shrug, said of his friends Fatowski and Sabring, "Play with fire, get burnt." As far as Gutowski was concerned, the drug and debauched festivities he attended at the Polanski home in London's 95 Easton Square, their Santa Monica beach pad, 1038 Ocean Front, their temporary residence at apartment 3G at the LA landmark Chateau Marmont, the Summer Ridge property he rented from Patty Duke. That's MK Ultra when you mention Patty Duke. And finally, the Cielo Drive ranch house, one canyon away, might have gone on indefinitely had it not been for the entrance of Wojciech Fatowski and Ian Quarrier, Quarriar, into their idyllic scene. Gutowski told us he invited Polanski into the decadent and deluxe demi-monde of Victor Lone's London social set, a far cry from the bleak communist Poland the director defected from. Lones was the second in command at Playboy Enterprises. The suave cultural womanizer was everything the square Midwestern bumpkin Hugh Hefner only pretended to be. Dubbed Victor Disgusting by the British prudish British press, Victor Lones was described as one Fleet Street tirade as entertaining a huge collection of pimps, prostitutes, recidivists, drug addicts, and freeloaders. Polanski previously met and clicked with Lones at the 1963 Cannes Film Festival. Through this connection, Polanski bonded with fellow playboy Warren Beatty. Dick Silbert, his artist designer on several of his most notable films, and more ominously, the flashy and arrogant Canadian dandy who was indeed a quasi-pimp, dedicated drug addict, and frequent freeloader, Ian Courier. Beatty, whose film Shampoo is partially inspired by his friend Sabering, was later one of Polanski's escorts to his grim flight to Los Angeles after the murders. According to the allegations of Hal Lipset, Manson, and Grotowski, the legendary ladies' man, Beatty was also one of the performers in those elusive sex videos that made so many movie stars nervous. Silbert would make one of the most telling, if flippant, remarks about the murders when he spoke to the press right after the Cielo Slanes, after toilets flushing drugs all over Beverly Hills. In 1965, Lones introduced Grotowski to a young American actress who her boyfriend thought would be perfect for a Playboy centerfold. That actress was Sharon Tate. The novice was in London to film her in the featured role in The Eye of the Devil. Her boyfriend was Jay Sebring, already befriended with Lones. The main thing Grotowski recalled about the meeting was that then unknown starlet at the social event at London's posh Dorsetshire Hotel was precisely what Ferdinand Maine told us he was struck by upon making her acquaintance. She wasn't wearing any panties. Decades later, the connoisseur of comeliness was still marveling at Tate's overwhelming sex appeal as a natural wonder and elemental force to be reckoned with. We will end the chapter here because this is a long chapter and this is very important stuff, is it not? I was looking at my analytics, and they said one thing I read about partners in crime got the most likes. I would say that this chapter is way more important, but they're probably both important. So we'll try to finish it tomorrow. God bless all the friends and families of the vinyl communities, all my friends and enemies, and God bless our children.